I didn't think we'd be here at the end of 2025, but here we are. I've made enough changes here inside my golf bag that I think it's time to update my what's in the bag for you. And I know I've gotten a lot of questions on the ball I'm playing, the new irons I'm playing, and some other things that have taken place here this summer as I try to continually improve my game and get better. Now, one thing I want to tell you straight up is that not one of these clubs in my bag is from a sponsor. I don't take sponsorships on golf clubs for this channel so that we can keep our reviews honest and independent. So that's why you'll see that I have no brand loyalty inside this bag. Each club in its category I think is the best for me, with maybe one exception, which we'll talk about here as we go, something I've been struggling with in my own golf game. But what we're gonna do here today is play 6 holes. Hopefully we will conquer that one club, and I'm gonna try to go even par. Let's get to work and go through what's in my bag. All right, first hole here is a shorter par 4. I like a kind of course that gets you warmed up a little bit. This one does that. So we could go hybrid or mini driver here because driver's too much. There's water on the right. I think we're gonna go hybrid. So I'll tell you a little about the newest club in my bag, which is the Tour Edge Exotics E725. And I gotta say, I'm surprised I put this club in the bag because I tried the C725 and I really did not like it. I gave it a pretty bad review. Tour Edge ended up sending me the E version of their club, which is generally the more forgiving club. And this was night and day better performer for me. Just easy to get up in the air, easy club all around to hit, and it really fills the gap perfectly between my 4-iron and my mini driver. I can get about 225-ish out of this one when I hit it very well. The one thing it is lacking, I will say, is adjustability. You don't have any adjustability there in the hosel, and you do have just one fixed tungsten weight there in the back of this club. Shaft though, pretty good one, Denali. I have all stiff shafts in my bag. Let's see if we can get off the tee box good here. It's always important to start good early. All right, that's gonna be okay, I think. It was a little toey, and it was drawn a little too much, but not too bad. We're probably gonna be over there in the left rough. All right, well, it took a kind of a bad kick on me, so I'm actually in some kind of hard pan, bit of a nasty lie, to be honest. And we gotta keep it low here under the tree branches. 134, I'm gonna pull out pitching wedge. We'll come back to the irons here. I'm just gonna hit this shot. But the irons are the biggest update that I've made here in the bag. Came out low, but it's on a good line. I think we settled there just in the back fringe. Now, putter has been something I'm really struggling with. Had a really tough time. In fact, I just did that video on best putting mats because I need to fix my putting. I think it's a combination of things. I've been testing a ton of putters here on the channel, and I think that's messed me up because some of these you need a straight back, straight through stroke with. Some of these you need more of an arcing stroke with, and I'm just kind of messing with too many things. The other thing is just green speeds here at Carrollwood have been changing all year, so I can't say I've been getting consistent conditions. So it's been tough, and it's still hard for me to say exactly which putter is 100% going in my bag, but I'll tell you what I'm playing with here today, at least. That is the Bettinardi Antidote SB1. So this is their blade version of this club. They had a blade and a mallet that came out earlier this year. I sent the mallet to my dad. He's actually using that one and he loves it. So kind of in honor of my dad, I decided, well, let me see if I can game the SB1 myself. It's center shafted, but it's more traditional looking compared to some of the very alien designs we get out of zero torque putters. This grip is one thing I'd like to change. They do make a thicker grip, so I'd like to put that on here. Right now we just have like a thin rubber grip, but it's giving me a little bit more confidence, at least in the 4 to 6 foot range, which has been really bad. Even 3-footers this year, I've missed a lot of those. So we'll see if we can get it working early here. I would like to be able to clean that ball, but you can't on the apron. So let's see if we can get the speed right here early. I should have taken a putt on the putting green before I came out here. It would have helped. Oh man, just needed to hit it a little bit more. It's right on line. That's the thing about all these zero torque putters is it takes that one variable out of the equation out. Meaning you gotta have the line right, you've gotta get the speed right, but you've gotta be able to put that ball on line. And I think that's where all these zero torque putters really seem to help me at least. All right, so there's par. We're going to a slightly longer straightaway par 4 here. All right, so the club I'm gonna pick up here is a club that has been the same with one little caveat. So this year I put a mini driver in my bag to serve as basically my 3-wood, just because I hit this so much more consistently off the tee. At least I know that my variability is only gonna be a few yards in terms of dispersion compared to my driver, which I could be all over the place if I don't really hit it well. So it's just a little tighter dispersion, and I only lose like 5 to 10 yards max off driver length. So it's a really, really good club. And honestly, it could probably replace driver and 3-wood for me, but I do like to have the driver for those par 5s I wanna reach into. The change I made though is a shaft change. So I had just the standard tailor-made burner shaft in here that comes with it. Kind of looks like the old bubble burner, but I've changed the shaft to a Faruga. I had never heard of Faruga, but when I got the box, it said Autoflex on it. That's the shipping department. So clearly they are the same company as Autoflex. I'll say about this shaft is a very consistent shaft. Also this year I've increased my swing speed a little bit, and so the stock shaft that was on here was just a little too whippy. This keeps it a little stiffer. This shaft also resists twisting. So again, I just find that my misses are not as wide. And on this course, especially here at Carrollwood, it's not a super long course. So it pays off for me to be in the fairway rather than just try to bomb them all the time. We'll see how we do here. Do want to hit one in the middle if possible, but even if we don't, it shouldn't be too far off. In terms of tee height, by the way, with this, I tee it lower than my driver, but a little higher than I would tee a 3-wood. So it's right in between there. I think it's a 290cc head, I believe. Plenty big, but it's not as big as my driver head. A little sleeker. And that should be good. One other thing, just from improving my own game and my own swing perspective that I'm doing here this end of the summer into early fall in 2025, is my swing path has been way too inside. And a lot of you noticed that on the videos. And my draw has turned into sometimes more of like a hooking shot, definitely more of a slinger off the tee. It's just too much. I looked at my stats on the GC Quad. It's always nice to have technology that tells us what's going on. And on the GC Quad, my face angle was 9 degrees. And again, that's just too closed coming in. So I'm trying to adjust my path. The feel I'm trying to go for is more of an outside to in feel, even though my swing's still inside out. The feel to me is outside to in, and really trying to exaggerate that feeling so that we can get that face angle to closer to like 5 to 6 degrees. I don't want to be any more than 6 degrees in terms of club face. Worked pretty good there. It looked like it was a little tighter draw. That's what we want. We'll see if we do that with the driver as well. In terms of distance here, we're gonna need to wait for this green to clear ahead of us, but we've got 149. That should be a pretty comfortable 9-iron, I think. This green is slightly elevated. A lot of debris on this ball though. So early mornings, you're always gonna lose a little bit of distance. The air is a little different. You got dew on the ground. There's just different conditions for morning golf. So a lot of people think they know their distances. They come out in the morning and it's a little bit different. They're losing 5 yards. You gotta think about that. I could almost pull an 8-iron here, but in this particular case, short would be a little better than long. That's on a good line. Just slightly left of the pin. And it's up there. We got another birdie putt. That was a good strike. Man, I know I haven't talked about the irons. I'm still teasing it a little bit, but they feel so good. All right, yeah, this is gonna be a real good crack at birdie. This is a hole that really used to eat me up, but since I have gained a little bit more distance these days, it's nice to be able to put a 9-iron in my hand coming into this green. It's a tough green to hit. All right, this putt should be breaking a little left to right. Man, I'd love an early birdie. Oh, I didn't hit it. Speed was so bad. Cardinal sin to not get a birdie putt to the hole. Oh, that's brutal. No confidence right now with the putter. Again, just every putter I'm testing has different pop off the face, different mechanics. So I really just need to be able to settle into one. I'll be happy when these manufacturers stop releasing zero torque putters so I don't have to test them anymore. But we've been building up to this video of the best zero torque putters, which is coming. So do hit subscribe and you'll find out what at least my pick is. But in the short term, it's messing me up. All right, so 158 according to the rangefinder here, especially after hitting that 9-iron about, probably hit that 147, and we're in basically the same direction. I think 8-iron maybe a little short of the hole, but again, I think I'd rather be slightly short possibly than long here. As long as I'm short on the right side, I cannot be short on the left side. You know, maybe I smooth a 7. I think that's the move. We will be talking about these irons very quickly on the next hole, I promise you. But I'll tell you why I changed the irons, because I've had my Adels for over 3 years. They've been the longest running clubs in my bag. I love the Adel irons for so many reasons. Great feel. I love the milling on the bottom of the club. I love the relief towards the face and towards the heel. I love the way they look at address. I love the customizability of those irons. The problem I was having is that as I've increased distance, my gapping has been a little changed. And certainly some of this has to do with the way I'm swinging and the mechanics that I'm fiddling with, but I found that my gapping, which you want about a 10-yard gap between every club in your bag, my gapping from the 6 to the 4-iron really shrunk down. I only had 10 yards of distance in terms of carry between my 6-iron and 4 iron, and only about 15 yards if you go back to the 7 iron, and that just isn't going to work when you got 4 clubs that all go about the same distance. So I realized I need to have a little bit more of a pressed loft up at the top of the bag. Now what I did earlier this year is I put 2 ping clubs at the 5 and 4 iron spots in order to do that. The ping clubs are a pressed loft club, very forgiving club, which you need more forgiveness when you get towards the top of the bag. The problem that I had with the pings is they feel great when you strike them in the center, but they feel not as great when you hit them off center. They're still very forgiving, but the feels I was missing. As you play more golf and experience more clubs, and I don't think anyone experiences as many clubs as I do other than the other people that review clubs, you realize it's just the real subtleties that pay dividends in the golf game. And for me, feel is a huge one. It's like, you know, the difference between driving a really nice car and driving a supercar. There's little differences that make a massive difference when you put it all together. So for that reason, the Ping G440s, while I really love those irons, I decided to make a change to a set also that would just feel more consistent throughout the bag. And that's where we're at. Let's see after all that John if I can hit a good shot here. I've got 7 iron. Like I said, I'm going to try to maybe cut one in. That's why I took a little extra club here. And that way it takes that bunker out of play as long as I hit a cut. And I did not hit a cut. Oh, but I really hit it hard. It's gonna be a very difficult chip. It's gonna give us a chance to talk about the wedges though. That's the good thing. Whew, it must have hit the cart path because I am well past this green. Maybe the 7 iron wasn't the play. So very difficult shot here. I thought I was gonna take a wedge, but I can't because I can't get it up. I'll hit this tree if it goes up too high in the air. I'm gonna try to bump one into this hill here. I'm gonna go 8 iron, try to bump it. Probably the club I should have hit to begin with. Get up there. No, not enough. All right, well, all of a sudden this little hole is kind of eating me up. So we gotta hit a good chip here to avoid a double bogey. I do not wanna do that. And we're not gonna break our score if I do that. Or it's gonna be considerably harder to do so, I should say. All right, everything's heading downhill and left to right here. So I'm just gonna try to pick a spot in this dew. I'm not gonna get much check. So I need to carry it probably to about here, ideally, and then just let it roll out towards the hole. That's the plan, see if we can execute. So the wedges I'm using have not changed. One thing that hasn't changed, the Cleveland RTZ I switched to earlier this year. I've got the full face groove here on this 58-degree wedge. I think I actually prefer the standard grooves, but with the 58, I can really open this up. This is the adapt grind, so I can open it, I can close it, I can hit different types of shots around the green. It's a very flexible club. Visually though, like I said, I prefer the regular grooves. Hit my spot almost perfectly. Let's see if we got the weight of the shot right. We did. So we got a crack at it. This is where I need the putter to really perform, and this has again been my struggle. Let's see if I can overcome it. This is a fairly straightforward putt for sure. So this is one I got to make. 4.5 feet, we'll call it. And yeah, I definitely see it on the ball. That's the cart path we hit. Just gotta be confident in the stroke. Stay up. Oh. This putter may not last long in my bag, we'll see. That's a double. 2 over, behind the 8 ball a little bit, heading to a scoreable hole, really a scoreable stretch of this course, the next 2 holes. All right, just gonna stick here with the mini driver. Well, at least one club's working for me. All right, I couldn't pick it up and drop it in a better place, to be honest, other than I'm kind of in an old divot a little bit. 123 is the number, and get to show you another wedge in the bag here. So this is the 50 degree. So the setup I have is 50, 54, 58. I would say I hit the 58 considerably more than I hit the 54. I use that club pretty sparingly, to be honest. It's probably one of the least used clubs in my bag, that and the hybrid. But I really do love what Cleveland did here. Roger Cleveland back at Cleveland. That was enough to convince me to give him a shot. And in case you're wondering, on this 50 degree wedge, I've got the mid grind. Yeah, I've been playing really well with these. I don't see them coming out for a bit. Just a little left of target. Looks to be pretty good for distance. Yeah, very nice. Okay, we've got a birdie putt. Let's see if we can get one back. Now, as I mentioned, we don't take club sponsorships on this channel, which could be a big revenue source, but I've got to keep my club reviews honest and independent. And that's why we will never have a club sponsor on this show. But one way that you can help support this show, which puts out 3 episodes a week. We've got our shorts channels on the other social networks, and we're also building a big team behind the scenes, guys like Sean and RJ that work on this show. But one way you can help this show is to pick up some of the merch that we put out this year. We already sold out the putter, which was amazing. Thank you for that support. But earlier this year, I rolled out the Mere Mortal brand of apparel, which also sold really well. But we do have a few shirts that are still available, some polos. If you want to pick them up, I will leave a link down below. When you do that, you absolutely help keep this show going, and you help keep the reviews honest and unbiased. All right, distance was perfect. Now we need this putter to do something. It's got to come alive. I've got to have a little bit more confidence in my stroke. The last stroke was not confident enough. I didn't hit it firm enough. And because of that, I missed. If it was a little firmer, it would have been in the hole. So see if I can hit a good one here. I'm not going to leave this one short. Pick my line and really put a good stroke on it here. Okay, all right, finally time to take the big stick out. So once again, the driver has not changed since the spring. I'm still playing the Callaway Elite. Very forgiving, very long driver. What I love about it is especially toe forgiveness. Toe is my miss, and this one actually gives me sometimes more distance off the toe if it's just slightly toe. But once again, I've got a new shaft on this one. This is, again, the Faruga. 66 grams, I believe, is the weight on this one. It definitely stands out. I get a lot of comments from my playing partners on this one. But for me, it's all about consistency and a very, very consistent shaft. And I tee my ball very high with a driver, and I want to hit it on an upswing to squeak out as much distance as we can. Again, I've changed my stance a little bit. It's a little bit more open, especially with this front foot. I'm trying to open that up a little bit. I'm trying to, again, think about coming out. That's at least the swing thought. Pretty good one there down the left side of the fairway. I'd say still, if I was to guess, we're probably at a 7 degree, maybe 8 degree club face angle there. That was still a little bit too closed, I would say, because I got a little more draw than I wanted, but all in all, decent. Now, you probably also saw the trajectory of that shot was a little bit lower, and this shaft is more of a mid to low trajectory, they call it. Mid is pretty good for me because I'm already kind of a high ball striker, and this takes a little bit spin off, so I should be getting a little bit more rollout. All right, and due to that extra rollout and the way this shape of this hole is, we are just off the fairway, but this lies much better. All right, it's time to finally talk about the irons, I think, because this is the type of shot that I've been struggling with. Like I said, the gapping was off with my irons. So for the first time ever, I have switched to Srixon irons. You probably saw my reviews of both the ZXi 5 and 4s. The 4s I ranked the best game improvement club of the year because they've got everything. Not only do they have the length and the forgiveness, but they've got the feel. This is really a dual construction because the back of this club is cast, the face itself is forged, and the feel is a forged feel. It matches very similar to the ZXi 5. So in my setup here, pitching wedge through 7 ZXi 5s, I'll be hitting a 5-iron here because in the 6 through 4, I've got the ZXi 4s. This has allowed me to get a lot more distance, which is what I really need at the top of this bag. I'm not ready to switch to hybrids yet. I'm not that old. I'm only 44. All right, see if we can advance the ball here with the 5-iron. Yeah, that's absolutely on a rope. We're gonna have a little flip wedge in our hands. And accuracy is really critical on this second shot because it gets very narrow up there. And these irons I've been extremely accurate with, except for that par 3. Looks like I might be using the 54. It'd be great because I want to use every club in my bag. And yeah, it's exactly 100 yards. Which is 54 degree distance for me. In case you're wondering, I have a full grind on this 54 degree wedge. All right, let's see if we can make it talk. This is a distance I'm generally fairly deadly from. Pushed that one though. Distance should be good. Yep. So we've got a birdie putt, but quite a bit longer than it should have been. This will probably be the putt I make because all the easy ones I've missed, right? This one's uphill, breaking right to left, I'd say about 30 feet. Speed is the main thing, and man, I think I've left every putt basically short. That is just so bad. All right, let's see if we can get some confidence here from 4 feet. Well, after this video, this putter will not be in my bag. It's not the putter's fault either, I'm pretty sure. But we like to blame our clubs, right? That's just golf. All right, so not how I envisioned the putting to go here today, but that's what we got. We got one more hole though to just finish strong. And there is one more thing about the irons I do want to mention that I forgot to mention. I'll do that right after this drive. This might be too good. Well, if there's been one highlight of today, it's been the drives and everything else other than the putter. Like I said, nothing against the Bettinardi putter. In fact, I really love the putter. It's the guy putting. My green reading is bad. Everything is bad. So I did promise there was one more thing about these irons. This is actually a really big change. I've got the Dynamic Gold S300 115 gram stiff shaft. So I was playing a rifle shaft, which again, a shaft I really, really like. This one's a little bit lighter, about 5 grams lighter. And for whatever reason, it's just working really well with this setup. So that is the other change here with the irons. Now we've got 133. I've got pitching wedge in hand. The pin's right in the middle of this green, like middle back. I'm gonna go right at it. Just left again, as I've been all day. Oh, man, distance was actually pretty perfect there. I hit right into the top and then kind of rolled back in. Gives us one more chance here with this wedge. Gonna hit a good, hopefully a good bunker shot. The sand is firm here in the morning. There is one other change too, if you've been watching the show that you know I made, and that's with my ball. Really loving these balls. We'll see if we get some good action out of the sand with them. Good action, but I just hit it too far. In early morning, you just don't know what could happen. Not getting PGA Tour consistency like those guys that have every condition the same every time. That's really nice to have. But the balls I'm playing are Volvic balls, and Volvic is sponsoring the show now. So thank you to Volvic for that. And on top of it, they're letting us have a little discount for you guys. There's 2-pack and 3-pack discounts. You can save up to 20%. Really nice of them. If you saw my testing, I started with 6 balls and I narrowed it down. It was really a fun video. I don't want to give it away, but I am playing the Condor from Volvic, which is a 3-piece. It's a tour ball as good as anything out there. What I really love about it is it's got great distance, but great feel around the greens, and short game is so important to me. Short game is also really what's let me down here today. So we got a putt for par. Either way, I've had a blast with you guys. So that's my bag here for the end of 2025, and I'm sure I'll keep this into 2026 for a bit, but I'd love to know what's in your bag as well. So do leave me a comment with what your setup is. Always love seeing that. Let's see if we can finish strong. Oh! Finally something drops. I'll catch you back here next time on another edition of Let's Play Through.